friends, I'm Miss Elisa with St. Mary's County Library, and welcome to another Pint-Sized Playtime. This week's Pint-Sized Playtime features all Thanksgiving-themed activities. As usual, these activities can get quite messy, so I would recommend either doing them outside to the best of your ability, even though it is getting kind of cold, or setting them up in the kitchen or on a tarp, somewhere where they can feel free to make a mess and you won't have such a hard time cleaning it up. The first activity is loosely Thanksgiving themed. I figure Thanksgiving has turkey, turkeys have feathers, so we're doing a feather sensory bin. So for this, all you need is a bin or a bowl or a tray and some craft feathers. These are really easy to get. You can get a bunch of them for just $1 at most dollar stores. I have a bunch of multicolored ones, but you can find tons of different varieties. It's super easy. You just pour them into the bin or the bowl and just let them go crazy. It is really fun and different to play with the feathers just because they are so light and airy and they kind of float around. You might want to get your vacuum cleaner or your duster out after you do this activity just because the pieces of the feathers do get in the air and then they tend to just go everywhere, so keep it in mind. But this is just a super simple but really fun and different sensory activity. Next up, we have a personal favorite, and this is a sensory bag. It is corn themed. So for this, you are going to just need a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, some nail polish remover and a cotton pad or a paper towel, a Sharpie, some aloe vera gel or hair gel. I would actually recommend hair gel over the aloe vera just because hair gel does tend to be clear, so you will be able to see through it better, and some popcorn kernels. So you're going to take your gallon-sized bag and your nail polish remover and you're going to take off that label. It does come off super easily with a little bit of nail polish remover, and then you have a clear unmarked bag. Next up, you're just going to draw your corn cobs all over the bag, and you can get as many as you can fit on here. I drew mine a little bit too big, so I was only able to get 6 corn cobs. I was aiming for 10, but obviously that did not work out for me. After you draw on your corn cobs, you are going to put some water and your gel product in the bag. I didn't measure this. You kind of want it to be about half and half gel to water, and you can obviously add more gel if you need it to be thicker or more water if you'd like it to be thinner. Then you're going to place your corn kernels in and get all of your air out. The amount of corn kernels you need depends on the amount of corn cobs you are able to fit on your plastic bag. I was only able to fit 6 corn cobs, so I needed 21 corn kernels. You can just dump a bunch in there, it doesn't really matter, but as long as you have enough to move the corn kernels around. So if you have a baby or a toddler who isn't counting yet, this is just a really fun sensory activity. Just having some hair gel in a bag is a great sensory activity. Adding the water makes a totally different texture and feel, so that is also a great activity. Adding the corn kernels adds another element. You do not need to draw the corn cobs on this or have almost any of the ingredients in order to make a fun sensory activity. Sensory activities are all about encouraging experimentation and learning through play. So anything that creates a new sensory experience for your child is going to benefit them. You don't need to draw the corn cobs if you don't feel like it or if you don't think your child will benefit from it. The corn cobs do help if you have an older child who is starting to learn to count. Basically, you lay it down and just encourage them to push the number of kernels into that corn cob. So 1 into corn cob 1, 2 kernels into corn cob 2, etc. This is a great counting activity for older children, but as I said, if your baby is not counting yet, it is an amazing sensory experience for littles as well. Next up, we have what I'm calling a frozen fall tower. So for this, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is go on a nature walk. So I encouraged you last month to go on a nature walk for your autumnal sensory bin, and we're gonna do the same thing this time. You're gonna go on a nature walk with your child and just let them pick out leaves, sticks, acorns, pine cones, rocks, whatever they really find that they find interesting. And you're going to put them in a plastic cup. Once you get home, you're going to take the plastic cup filled with your leaves and your fall objects, and you're going to fill the cup with water. Then you're going to place the cup in the freezer and let it freeze overnight until it is solid. Okay, so next day it is time for your sensory experience. You're going to take out a cookie sheet or a bin, and you're going to get some salt, some warm water, a pipette or a straw, and your frozen cup, basically, your frozen water in your cup. What you're gonna wanna do is start off by running your plastic cup under some warm water in order to get the ice block out of the cup. You're probably going to have to slam it down a little bit and kind of work with it to get the ice block out, but it will come out eventually, I promise. Once you have that, you can have your child start to melt their frozen fall tower. So they use the warm water. If you have a pipette, they can use it to squeeze on top. You can use the suction in a straw with your finger just to place some warm water on it. The salt does help a lot, and it is a really fun way to show your child some science by using the salt and the warm water to melt the tower. I found that it is most efficient to just dump warm water over top of the tower and start to pick away at your leaves and your acorns, and you're basically breaking them out and thawing them from the frozen tower. Our last two activities are food-based. So these are taste safe and very, very messy. First up, we have pumpkin fluff. To me, this just looks like pumpkin pie filling or something around that basis. All you're gonna need is a pie tin or a Tupperware or a bowl, some pumpkin puree, and some Cool Whip. So if you don't actually want this to be taste safe or food based and you would rather your child not eat it, you can also use shaving cream for this. Obviously shaving cream is not toxic, is non-toxic, so if your child does put it in their mouth, they're fine, but they're probably not going to want to do it over and over again because it's not going to taste as good as the Cool Whip. Either one works. All you're going to do is take about half and half of pumpkin puree and Cool Whip. I didn't measure this either. You can decide if you think you need more Cool Whip, you can add more of that, or if you think you need more pumpkin, you can add more of that, and you just fold it together in a bowl. I then added some cinnamon to make it smell better. I think it, added a little something extra. You don't have to do this, obviously. It is very optional. And then you just let your child play. This is a great, fun activity. It's fluffy, it's squishy, it's a really different sensory experience for your child to have, and it tastes pretty good. So if it does end up in their mouths, it's not a big deal. It is completely food-based. Last up, we have a mashed potato sensory bin, and it is just as easy as you think it is. All you need is a bowl, a bin, or a Tupperware, and some mashed potatoes. I just have some instant mashed potatoes I whipped up super quickly. You can obviously make mashed potatoes specifically for the sensory bin, or if you have leftovers from your Thanksgiving meal or any kind of meal, you can just throw them in a bowl and let your child play. Set them up with a tarp, set them up on the floor, and just let them squish it through their fingers, let them mold. Mashed potatoes are super fun to play with because they mold really, really nicely. They're really squishy, but they're a little bit firmer than the pumpkin fluff, so it's definitely a very different experience. I'm obviously not encouraging food waste, but something I think would be really fun to do is if you happen to have some Thanksgiving leftovers or some leftovers from any dinner or meal that you happen to make, you can just put a bunch of different foods in a bin and let your child play. So if you have Thanksgiving leftovers, you could put mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce in different sections of a bin or a bowl and just let them go to town. Let them experiment, let them play, let them see how everything feels different, how everything tastes different, how everything looks different once you mix it together. So you're really trying to engage those five senses, and that contrast is really going to do that. Hey, you could even combine the pumpkin fluff and the mashed potato. It will definitely taste way different mixed together to your child once you do that. But that contrast is super important for learning. So those are all of the slightly Thanksgiving themed sensory activities I have for you today. Please tag us in any photos or videos you might take of your child doing any of these activities. We would absolutely love to see them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.